Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today I'm going to tie a olive 3. Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today I'm going to tie an olive down and dirty Lively Legz Nymph. The hook I have in the vise is a Lively Legz lip splitter. This is a size 12. It is number 135. The hook is slightly offset for better hooking. I have a Lively Legz down and dirty tungsten bead in olive on there. And I'm going to use the Lively Legz olive legs. I'm going to start out, I'm going to take some 10 thousandths wire, lead wire or lead free wire, and I'll put about 5 wraps on there. And break off that excess. We're going to take that and we're going to push that inside the bead. That's just going to help keep the bead in place there. Just going to take my bodkin needle and push that in there. Thread I'm going to use is dark olive. This is 70 denier. I'm going to start the thread behind the bead, and we're going to put a base of thread down. I'm going to come back about halfway with it. That Danville thread tends to do that, what you just saw when you try to break it. Now I'm going to take my legs, and you can see I have 3 of them here, and 3 is a little bit too big for that, so I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 on there. I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to nip off a little bit of the tab on the front. And just leave a little tab on there. And I'm going to take the rear set of legs off. And I'm going to leave a little tab on both sides of those legs. And here is the rear set of legs. And after I do a few of these, I'll take the trimmed off parts of the legs and I'll tie them on individually on different on a different fly. Now I have a base about halfway. I'm going to bring my thread up to about the middle of that. When I start to tie in the lively leg, I want to start tying them in by the middle. I'm going to hold those legs to my side, and then when you wrap, they're going to end up on top. I'm going to put several wraps in the middle, and that's going to be the main holding for the legs. When you get close to the front, kind of pull them towards you, and because those wraps are going to want to carry them all the time, kind of hold them in place, move to the front. You can see it's kind of trying to pull it over. And secure that tab down. Going to move back to the rear, and I'm going to secure the rear legs. And here we have our legs tied on. Now for the abdomen, I'm going to use a medium olive wire. And I'm going to start that right behind those legs there. Once I get it secured, I'm going to use that wire holding it to my side at the 45, and this will give us nice tight wraps. We want to keep those wraps tight. We don't want any big spaces for the wire to fall into. I'm sure that for the tail I'm going to use a dark olive pheasant tail. And this feather here is, it was sold as a center tail, but it's really a side tail. You can see here you have the nice fibers or barbels that look like the center, but on the side, on the opposite side, it's all soft. There's no sharp edges, and that tells you that's a center or a side tail. A center tail will have this on both sides. I'm going to take about 3 of those fibers, and I want them to be about 1/2 to 2/3 the length of the body. I'm going to tie them in right there on top, and I'm going to wrap them forward, again trying not to make too many or too much of an indentation that the wire will fall into. You can just break them off. We're going to keep that thread right behind those legs. We're going to take that wire, I'm going to give it a wrap underneath first. Going to pull that forward, and then I'm going to begin wrapping. And if you hold the wire slightly towards the rear, one wrap will fall off the previous wrap, and keep them nice and tight for you. If you have a rotary vise, of course you can use your rotary vise. I have the rotary vise, but I like to wrap things with my fingers and use that rotary just to look at the opposite side of my fly. We're going to bring that right up in back of those legs. Last wrap, get that in the back of those legs. I'm going to move that wire up between the legs and tie that off there. Then we can helicopter that off. This fly is based on the profile of a Higa's SOS. The Higa's SOS, I do real well with them, and any fly that I design after that, model it after that Higa's with the skinny abdomen and a fatter thorax, I do really well with in the summertime. Now I'm going to take that olive pheasant tail once again, and I'm going to use the top section, and I took about 1/2 inch off there, and you can see this is a little bit stiffer and this is very soft here, so I'm going to cut off the soft portion. The part that's a little stiffer tends to stay flat when you fold over the wing case. Be careful of the legs because you can easily catch them and move them out of position. And we tie them in. Bring the thread back behind the legs. Now we're going to put dubbing on there, and I'm going to use a olive, and I have a rabbit blend olive here. You want a nice thin section at the very start, and you can build it up slightly when you get towards the middle, and then you want a thin section on the end. Now we're going to take this and wrap the abdomen. I'm going to go behind the legs, turn my vise slightly so I can see, and the bottom side is the side that you really want to concentrate on. So maybe I'll put 2 wraps behind the legs and then start in front. And again, the bottom is where you want to concentrate on because the top is going to be covered. Get this in front. A couple of those wraps in there. And you can see the top, I have a couple misses, but on the bottom, it's nice. And we're going to take our pheasant tail. We want to lay this over, and you want to keep that wing case flatter. I'm going to hold it in position, then hold it on top of my finger. Secure it, put a few wraps in front, and then we can trim off that wing case. Get that nice and close. See, there's a little bit. We'll take our whip finish and put a slight whip finish on there, 3 or 4 wraps. If you find yourself with a lot of thread behind the bead, one way to hide that is to put a little bit more dubbing on there and whip finish it with dubbing. We're going to go ahead and trim this off. I'm going to take our head cement, put a drop of head cement right on the top. And here we have an olive, down and dirty, lively Legz nymph. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please visit my sponsors. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my